All right, today I'm talking about the Axis 5mm and the Easton 5.0 and why I opted to go from the Axis 5mm to the new 5.0 from Easton. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I am Zach with Extreme Outfitters, and I wanted to preface this video by saying, yes, we are a shop, and yes, we have a lot of experience with all different archery equipment, arrows, arrow builds, and whatnot. But these are our experiences and kind of what we see. And before you take our advice or any of your favorite influencers' advice to heart and just run with that, I would encourage you to do some of your own testing. That's the great thing about archery is it's all about testing and find what really works for you, not just what works best for another person, but what works best for you. And that's one thing we do a little bit different at Extreme Outfitters is we encourage testing. It's important to us, and we think it's important for our customers to be able to test prior to them making a big commitment. So one of the big things for us is arrows. We sell them individually, right? You can buy one arrow, you can buy a dozen arrows, doesn't matter. But it's important because if you're unsure about going, for example, from the Axis 5mm to the 5.0, and you don't want to make that leap fully, you can buy one 5.0, test it out, and then if you like it, you can make that leap. Same thing if you're on the edge or if you're unsure about spine options, right? You kind of stuck between a 300 or a 340, you can try one of each. So we make that very easy. We also offer free cut and glue for all of your arrows. So if you need them cut, you want them glued, all you got to do is put that in the order notes at checkout, and we will offer that service for free. So I just wanted to start that before we really dive into this video. Let you know that these are our experiences, and we do encourage you to do your own testing to see what really works for you. So jumping back into it, the Axis 5mm and the Easton 5.0. The 5mm, I have always gravitated towards a 5mm shaft. To me, it's my favorite diameter. It's very consistent, it's reliable, it flies really well. It's in between that 4mm and 5mm, or excuse me, standard diameter, so the durability is really good. But I've always been an Axis 5mm guy for a long time. It's just done really, really well. The biggest drawback was, like everyone has said, it's an overall heavier arrow. The GPI is a little bit greater. So not everybody's a fan of that. And for me, I had no problem with it. I was never focused on FOC or a particular arrow weight. I did gravitate to an arrow weight between typically 440 to up to 500 grains in the past, with no issues whatsoever when it came to hunting. But I did have a little bit of issues when it came to shooting total archery events or 3D events where I just couldn't get my sight tape out quite as far as I wanted to. So that's what kind of drew me to the 5.0. The 5.0 being brand new from Easton. Of course, I wanted to try it, so I went from the Axis 5mm to the 5.0. And I can say I've been very, very pleased with it. I built it very similar to how I build my Axis 5mm. So the Axis 5mm, I've always been very simple when it comes to building arrows. I typically run the stock fletching configuration. So if you know anything about Easton, their match grade series now comes with the AAE hybrids. But I build them with a stock insert, which is a 16 grain insert, and then I run a 100 grain head on them. And for me, with the Axis 5mm, it's always been fantastic. I've had no issues with recovering animals, with pass-throughs ever. And the durability side, I think, is untouchable with the Axis 5mm. So I took a similar approach with the 5.0. Like I said, I wanted something where I could get a little bit more distance out of my bow, and I wanted an arrow that did a little bit of everything well, right? Because I'm not somebody that likes to or can or even wants to build something for each application or every aspect of what I'm doing, right? And for most people, that's just not realistic. It costs too much, it's too time consuming, and at the end of the day, it's a lot of wasted money. So I do a lot of everything. I shoot a lot of total archery events, I shoot a lot of 3D, and I bow hunt. So I wanted something that did all of that pretty well. And that, again, the 5.0 to me, really, looking at it on paper, hit the sweet spot. So I built these up. I shoot a 300 spine on all of my arrows. I typically shoot between 70 and 80 pounds on my bow with a draw length of 28.5 inches. And when I went to build the Easton 5.0, the stock insert was a little bit too light for me, right? So I opted to run some brass in the front of this shaft. I've got 50 grains of brass and a 100 grain head up front. And these are actually shafts, so I fletched them up myself. I go back to a very simple configuration. This is an AAE Max Stealth, fletched up in a 3 fletch with a right helical on it. So again, very simple for what I do. And hunting wise, the last couple of years, I've been shooting a Sever 1.75 and a 2.0 last year. This year, I'm going to be going with either the 1.5 or the 1.75 hybrid. I'm still not 100% sure. I've got some of both. Back to the Easton 5.0, the actual build process. Again, I wanted it simple. I wanted something that, again, was going to do most things well. And I felt like this arrow setup is going to do that. So far, I've had nothing but luck with it. As far as one, durability, I know that was a big concern for a lot of people. The durability side, you can't really compare the 5.0 to the Axis 5mm. It's a thinner wall. It's an overall lighter GPI. So there's pros and cons with everything. And the 5.0 is not going to be as durable as the Axis 5mm. There's just no way. But I have had no issues from a durability side at all yet. And we've shot a lot of Total Archery this year and 3D events. And I can tell you, I've had one issue I had a problem with, and I've opted to not run the collars on these, mainly because I've been shooting foam all year and I just don't like the collars and how they are in the foam of my targets. So I didn't run them. But I will probably throw a collar on for these for hunting season. And because I had one arrow that hit a target and it splintered the carbon and peeled it all the way back. So is it a durability aspect issue, or was there a hard spot in one of my targets that peeled that carbon back? I'm not 100% sure, but I know a collar would have eliminated that issue. Again, durability side, I have not broke one of these yet out of all the Total Archeries that we've shot, the 3D stuff that we've done. And I can assure you I have missed some targets and been able to recover those arrows with no issues whatsoever. But I have seen some people that have had some complaints on them, saying that they have broke, 6 to 8 inches up on the shaft. And again, if you look at my arrow build, it's very simple. It's not super FOC heavy. Like, I see some guys really stacking a lot of weight on the front of these, and I'm wondering if that may be one of the things that are causing some of their issues. Like I said, I don't have experience with that. There's only 150 grains up front on my arrow, which brings it to an overall arrow weight of right at 418 to 420 grains versus my Axis 5mm, which were like 440 or 443 grains. So a lot lighter. And some people will argue that lighter arrow, you're not going to get the kinetic energy, or maybe you're not going to get the pass-throughs like you will with a little bit heavier arrow, but it's a little bit more FOC focus. So I don't see there being any issue as far as penetration goes on an animal. From all the experience that we've talked to guys that have shot elk and killed elk with sub 400 grain arrows. And then we got guys that swear by the 500 plus grain arrows. So I'm kind of in the middle. I gravitate towards between 400 and 440 grains for the most part. And so far I've had no issues. I didn't have any issues as far as pass-throughs with the Axis 5mm, and I don't anticipate any issues with the Easton 5.0. So looking ahead to the bow hunting side of things, this is where the testing and stuff really matters, right? So I've shot all the Total Archery stuff, all the 3D stuff, and the arrows have been phenomenal, right? I was really able to get my sight tape out to the distances I wanted to. That's 120 to 140 yards on some of those shots with no question. But I'm curious, as we get into the bow hunting side of things, what the durability looks like for myself. And I know some of you guys have already, the season's opened up for some of you guys already out in Arizona, up in Kentucky. And I'd be curious to see what your guys' input, or if you have any experience yet on the hunting side as far as durability goes. I'm really looking forward to getting these out there and just testing and seeing with, again, this little bit lighter arrow that I have never particularly run for hunting, how it performs versus my overall heavier arrow that I'm used to running in the past. So there'll be a follow-up video to this. I'll let you guys know on how this arrow actually performs. So I'd be curious on some feedback from you guys. Let me know what's your concerns with the 5.0? How have they performed for you? And are you running them this season? And how have you set them up in order to actually go out and hunt with them? Are you running more weight up front? Is it an overall lighter arrow in general for you? Drop some feedback, give us some comments, let me know. And as always, I really appreciate you guys following along, watching the video. If you need anything, head over to the website, extremeoutfitters.com, and we will see you guys in the next video.